How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I tried something different with my camera and mics, and for some reason it did not record any audio. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of voiceover on this video. I know it's been a little while since our last video. Life has gotten in the way, and we know that, circumstances do come up and things do not go as planned. I have continued with my flight training, and I do have more videos in the future coming out that have already been recorded that just got to get edited. To save a little time, I sped up the video a little bit to hurry up and get to our training area. Today we were working on power off stalls, emergency engine outage, and how to handle those situations, as well as reinforce some of my previous lessons. I do enjoy flying in this area with Truman Lake right here, Lake the Ozarks, as well as the many prairies and woods I have around this area. There's always something cool to enjoy and sightsee. Right now, we're just getting loosened up and relaxed, trying to do some coordinated slow turns. My instructor here makes a crack at my expense because he thought my altimeter was broken because there was minimal change in my altitude. It is nice when everything's clicking and you can apply your skills that you've learned in airmanship and do a job that you're proud of. I did notice that when I'm flying and I turn to the right, my nose tends to drop a little bit, and when I turn to the left, my nose tends to rise a little bit. And he said that's pretty normal with students until they get the feeling of flying and coordination good. That's kind of what they do on their perspective of where they're sitting. Right now we're going to work on some slow flight maneuvers. Here the goal is to lower the plane's speed down to as close to 60 knots as we can with full flaps, just to see that the plane still will fly even going at slow speeds while performing some slight maneuvers too. Here we're going to do some slow flight turns, and the goal to this one is you don't want to turn too steep at slow flights because you will wing over and go into a spin. So you want to try to keep below 15 degrees. Here we're going to perform some power off stalls. Now the purpose of doing the power off stall is you want to slow your airspeed down and raise your nose to get it below flight speed so your nose will fall out of the sky. Now when you do this, you want to try to keep your flight path in a straight line, so when you bring your nose down and get your airspeed back up, you're still traveling in the same direction. One of the tendencies of doing a power off stall is your nose will want to fall off to the left or to the right, and you want to try to hold it as straight as possible. I see this question asked on social media platforms from time to time, and I totally agree that you need to learn how to fly without using an iPad or something like that, but it does not hurt to have an iPad with like a ForeFlight that you can have in the cockpit with you. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to my iPad whenever I'm flying, so to speak, but from time to time, my instructor will pull up my flight patterns and show me in live time that what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong. Does not mean that every instructor is going to feel the same, but it doesn't hurt to have one with you. Here Chaz is going to explain to me the steps to handle a loss of engine during flight. Later on, you'll see him reach over and pull my throttle back, and which is a simulated power outage. While I wait for my engine to die, and I know it's going to happen here shortly, we're going to do some practice on some steep turns. Now, steep turns go up to 40 degrees in turning angle. Now, if you've never flown or new to flying and have not experienced a 40-degree turn, there's something in your head that says, this is not right. So it gets a little hard to turn that yoke to a 40-degree angle. Once you've done it a few times, it does get easier and easier and feels more natural. In steep turns, this is the first time you really get to experience a little bit of G-forces. Because you're turning, pull back on the yoke, and adding power at the same time, so it's setting you down in your seat. Here we're going to perform a simulated power loss and the steps you need to perform to make sure you get yourself on the ground safely. The first thing you need to do is to make sure that you fly the plane first. This, I mean, you need to know your glide speed and set your nose to that speed. Mine just so happens to be about 75 knots, so I'll lower my nose to about 75 knots and I'll try to hold it there at that speed. Now that I've done that, I will pick out an area that I know that I can land and go through my checklist to see if I can restart the engine. Turn the fuel pump on, make sure I'm on the fuel tank of fuel, and then try to restart the motor. If the motor does not start, then I will proceed to go ahead and land in my designated landing zone. Even though you've lost your engine, standard flight rules still apply, so you still want to land with your nose into the wind if possible. When picking out a spot to land, you need to pick out a spot that is suitable to your needs. By this I mean it needs to be long enough for you to make a landing and come to a safe stop. It needs to be free of power lines or ditches or obstructions, and preferably landing in a grass field that has been cut short works best. Try to avoid a fresh plowed field because they're too soft and might end up crumpling your landing gear. Now that my engine has miraculously restarted itself, I can apply power and climb to a safe flying altitude. For the rest of the lesson, we just recapped on some of the flight maneuvers that I've learned in previous lessons and did about a half an hour to 45 minutes of touch and goes, preparing myself for the upcoming solo. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe.